just call the meeting to order.
There you go.
So we can call the meeting to order. What's the first item on the agenda, Corey?
Introduce Corey.
Oh,
Oh, no, we have open forum. Visitors are allowed to ask questions, I think, for 10 minutes.
So if you are just joining, you're in the public and you want to raise your hand or unmute yourself, you most certainly can, and you can ask a question to the board, the commission rather. And Corey, just so you know, it does not look like you have any public questions or comments this evening.
Okay. Well,
maybe a
then,
good time to go around and have everyone introduce themselves that's new and just, that interest in the board.
I'll start.
Awesome.
So I'm Corey Miles. I just started working for the town of Situate a little over a month ago. I'm the new coastal resources officer in the position that Kyle used to fill. Kyle's now the director of planning and development. And so far I have been learning a lot about the town. I'm originally from Massachusetts. I grew up in Natick, but I've been living in Virginia for the past 10 years and doing coastal resources management in Virginia. And I was on the Virginia coastal policy team for the state. And we worked on projects ranging from living shorelines to oyster restoration to mapping out marsh migration and inundation areas from projected sea level rise. So I have a wide range of experiences that I think are really applicable to Situate. Situate is unique in its own way. I don't think there's any other place like it, given that it's kind of the poster child for bad storms, but I'm excited to fill the role and be part of this commission. And I'll be here if, whatever we decide to move forward with, I'm here to help. I'll do the roster just as I see it on my screen. And it's in no particular order. It's just who I see on my screen first, which is Stephen Tripp.
Oh, wow, okay. It's like a game show. This would be my second rotation with the commission. Certainly had some success. Well, that group had a lot of success. And I think when COVID hit, we all kind of had to stand back in the background, and with Kyle's change of responsibilities, I think we've been kind of, other than bringing in experts, we really haven't been speaking as a group, and we've heard that already a little bit. I do have a general concern, and I'll give you my introduction after. I found out about this meeting just by happenstance, listening to the selectmen review yesterday on the broadcast. And again, go to the site, I see the meeting being scheduled. What are we using for meeting announcements to the existing commission members? Because I didn't receive any email.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was given a roster of email addresses, and let me make sure I have yours correct.
Okay.
It's trippme@icloud.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So emails were sent out?
Yeah, so maybe it just wound up in your junk or spam folder or something, or
All right, I'll keep an eye out for that. Just a comment, because I'm glad to be here and look forward to moving forward with this group. I own a property on Hummerock Beach. If you've ever walked up Marshfield Avenue after a visit to the Bridgeway, I'm the last house on the right on the seawall. I've owned that property with my wife about 36 years. and I've seen a lot of change. I have pictures of folks standing with the wall above their head. And now it's pretty much a clean wash over the top of the wall. So I'm very interested in what we could do together to kind of resolve some of those challenges. I also have to note that every spring I watch some of my neighbors, and I'm not going to call anybody out, but who hire heavy equipment to go up and regrade the beach to create some relief from the top of the seawall to the top of the beach. I have to imagine it's without permit, but I just want to understand, maybe with some consistency, how are these things happening, and is this something that is a good way to deal with our beaches? So just some of the stuff that I'd like to see if we can address as a group, and look forward to contributing as much as I can.
Great, thank you. And I see next is Jen Foley.
Thanks, Corey. So I'm Jen Foley. I am the rep for the Conservation Commission, which I've been on for 4.5 years, I think. Time flies when you're having fun. Frank has been our rep to this group for a while, so giving him a break. But I live in Scituate. I grew up in Scituate. I've been back for about 6 years now, and I live in the North Scituate area. I'm really passionate about the trails, which is why I initially got involved with the commission. But being a coastal place, I'm excited to be involved in this as well. I think you're on mute, Corey.
I think I would learn by now.
No, it's never ending.
I see Charlie Richard next on my screen.
Hi, that's me. I've lived in Scituate since I was a young child. I worked in Boston for 30 years. I was able to retire pretty young. Through COVID and everything, I've been sitting around a little bit bored. Love this town, wanted to get involved. So I asked, I asked to be on this commission. I live near the harbor. So I see the best of the storms in a safe place at this point, but I am concerned about even the downtown area, Front Street. It floods pretty often these days. And I just want to do what I can help, whatever I can do to help. My background is financial world, so I think that is probably a different perspective from a lot of people. I'm also on the Historical Society Endowment Committee.
Don't start.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's see. I see John Grant on my screen next.
Hey, how you doing? I've lived in Scituate since 98, I guess. My background, I'm an oceanographer now. I do a lot of work in sort of assessing marine resources and then marine restoration, a lot of reef restoration. Started out as a coastal engineer, worked as a coastal engineer for a bunch of years down in the South, and then back up here, and have been back in the Boston area. I grew up in Cambridge, I've been back here in Scituate quite some time. I have a couple of kids that have come up through the school system, one left in the high school. Love the town. I've been on the commission for maybe 4 or 5 years. So looking forward to seeing what we can do.
That's great. And now I see Matt McKinley.
Yeah, hey everybody. Excuse me. Hey, my name is Matt McKinley. I am not from Scituate or even Massachusetts. Originally, my wife is, and I've lived here for a number of years and moved to Scituate summer of 2020, and just, I don't know, pretty instantly fell in love with the town so far. And I just have always been someone that's been involved, volunteer work and that sort of thing. Always looking out for a way to help out and be really a part of the community. And so I really approached the Board of Selectmen with where could I fit in? I would really love to help out. This was one of the top thing that I was interested in. There were two this and one other, I guess, commission that I said I'd be happy to help out with. But I was really thrilled that I was tapped to be a part of this. And this is obviously my first time working with this commission and in this capacity. So I'm definitely here to learn, but I'm also here to work. So, you know, if there's somewhere I can fill in and I can, you know, start putting some elbow grease somewhere, let me know. I also feel like this, just in the short time I've lived here, you know, the purpose of this commission and the topic has already come up a few times about, you know, Scituate kind of being a poster child for bad storms. And then, you know, you're always getting emails about hey, Front Street's going to flood, don't go down there. I feel like it's a very concerning issue that for the town of Scituate. And just anyway, I'm happy to be a part of the solution here. So thanks.
Excellent. Thank you, Matt. And Mr. Canavan.
Hi, well, like John, I'm a Canterbridgian, a former Canterbridgian myself. My wife and I have lived in Scituate for almost 4 years. This was one of my first choices to get actively involved in town affairs. As a 4-year Coast Guard veteran, I'm always interested in anything coastal. So this is sort of in my wheelhouse. I'm also involved with the Irish Sister City Committee, and by extension, the South Shore Irish Heritage Trail. And I'm serving as an advisory board member to the Visitors Center. And Kyle somehow has me on the hazard mitigation planning team. So I'm sure, Kyle, we'll be reporting back to this group on the hazard mitigation plan at some point. We're looking at tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars to effectuate that hazard mitigation plan. So we'll be busy in the next few years.
Great. Thank you. Kevin?
I'm Kevin Cafferty. I'm the DPW director. I am out in all the storms and I hear the aftermath from people complaining after the storm that, you know, the street wasn't plowed enough, or we plowed it too much, or we put down too much salt or not enough. Involved in all the heavy construction projects that we've done to date on seawall repairs. Know the town pretty well when we get hit with storms because me and my guys are usually out there seeing what's going on. So that's where we are.
Thank you. And I see two other names with cameras not on, but I'll go ahead and just ask you to identify yourself. I see Lisa.
And Ms. Miles, it could just be that you have public just here to listen and watch. So both Chris and Lisa could be those individuals.
Okay. Well, then I guess we can move forward with our next item on the agenda, which I will look at. Coastal updates. One thing, before we move on, and it's not on the agenda, but I just have a general question is, do we have officers, or I'm not sure, I haven't been here, but is that normally how this works? Is there a chair?
That would be a good, I think, I don't know if it has to be on the agenda to do that, but maybe we could see if anyone's interested in next meeting, vote on those roles.
Okay. I will add that to
So is anyone interested in being the chair of the board?
No sudden movements, anyone?
No, who's absent? Can we nominate somebody who's not here?
I know Jill's not here and she said she was interested, so that might actually be a reality, but I'll talk to her before the next meeting and see if we can vote her in at the next one. So I'll convince her and then we'll vote her in.
Okay. What about vice chair? Do we have do we have a need for a vice chair?
I think we're probably good with just the chair.
Yeah. Where we haven't had formal meetings too much in the past, well, at least since I've been a member, I'm not even sure if we're obliged to follow Robert's rules or anything like that. Are we for our meetings?
Yeah, we are.
We are. So,
What is the town's position on how long we're going to be required to be remote on these types of meetings?
What was that? How long?
How long does the town feel we need to remain a remote organization? Or when can we have face-to-face meetings is what I should ask.
Yeah, I don't know the position on that.
Kyle, I can weigh in on this if you want. This is once again Seth with Situate TV. Right now, committees and boards, commissions, you have the option to meet in person. You also have the option to meet remotely. Now, those come down to state laws. Those state laws will be revisited on April of this year. But right now, you can meet in person if you so wish.
Just a personal, having been involved with the Situate Beach Commission, it was very difficult for us to maintain our forward movement when we went to remote. And I understand why. Nobody's going to question that. I just think for the importance of this organization, we might need to consider that as we move forward. Open it up for discussion, but I have no problem with the remote. I just feel that it could be a much more effective group if we're in person.
Agreed.
I
How
would
often do
think,
you normally meet? I mean, I don't even, this is my first meeting and this is the first time I've been asked and I joined in October, so I don't know how often we would be having meetings.
So before COVID, we were meeting sort of regularly every month in person. And I mean, it's absolutely right. I mean, it was a whole lot easier to get stuff done and to move stuff along, sort of doing it in person. So, I mean, the big room at the library was big enough that, you know, a group our size could spread out sort of as much as people felt comfortable, I would think.
and we can still wear a mask if we want to. And I'm just guessing that everybody here is vaccinated. So we're probably okay to meet in person.
Okay. Well, if everybody's okay with it, I can move that the next meeting will be in person in the big room in the library.
Good.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. And if something changes or there's a reason we need to revisit it, then that's easy to do.
Sure.
Excellent. So I'll provide a brief update on the three major projects I've been working on. One of which is Cole Parkway. The Cole Parkway parking lot. I applied for a grant to do design. Development of conceptual designs to elevate a portion of the parking lot so that it no longer floods at high tide and still provides parking, and to incorporate more park-like amenities into the area so that it can provide more continuity with the Harbor Walk Trail that's there, and be a little bit more of a open space, green space, gathering place for the residents of Situate and visitors to come. There's been a lot of people parking there for long-term, heavy vehicles and whatnot. So I think that there's an opportunity to redevelop the space. So I applied for a grant. And we'll see what happens. If we get the funding, then I would be looking to hire a consultant, architecture and design firm to develop conceptual designs for this type of project. Happy to answer any questions about that, but it would definitely be a really big project for us to be working on.
Corey, maybe I missed that. Who was the grant through?
The grant was through, it's called the Municipal Vulnerability Grant Program.
I think it's an MVP grant using the Build Back Better money, isn't it? Isn't it some of the federal dough that it's already been sort of earmarked in the state budget?
Yeah, it's through MVP, right? I'm not sure exactly what their source of funding it is. It comes through,
Executive
Yeah.
Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs, I'm pretty sure.
okay.
I think didn't Patrick O'Connor already announce like $156,000 for this? Did I read that someplace? Kyle, am I wrong about that?
Yeah, no, that's true. There is money set aside for that. We're trying to extend it, make it even more money.
And this
Yeah,
is just for
so-
design phase?
Yeah,
Correct. Correct, and we anticipate a full public participation process to weigh in on, desired amenities, desired design elements, as well as the reality of the location being so flood prone, what can be done there. And also, what can be done to better tie the area into the Harbor Walk Trail and Front Street as well.
Can we do all this without losing parking spaces? Because that's the big concern down there.
I don't know, that's one of the main concerns of, I think that we'll have to consider, and we'll definitely have the design firm, see what can be done to maintain the level of parking.
So Corey, I think a few of us were in those harbor resiliency planning meetings where this came up, and we were looking at Martin's Park in Boston as a model for this. And they actually added parking with the design that they settled on. I don't know if people have seen that. Martin Richard was the little boy who was killed in the Marathon bombing. And Mayor Walsh, as part of Boston's resiliency plan, built a flood response with a flood mitigation park right by a children's museum and named it after Martin Richard. But it's a playground atop a garage, and the garage is designed to flood. That sound right for people who followed that? So that was discussed quite a bit at the harbor resiliency meetings, and the consensus was this was a good way to go as part of harbor resiliency. So find the money, Corey.
That's right. Yeah, so I applied for the grant. I wish I had at the top of my fingertips, the deadline or the notification of when applicants will be, or the date that applicants will be notified of the results, but I just don't have it in front of me right now. But we'll keep you posted on that. The second grant that I applied for, this is through the Community One Stop program, which is a pool of grant funders that you can submit, and it's more community and economic development related, but you can submit up to 5 projects for that. And so that was an expression of interest, really. So we haven't been invited to submit a full proposal yet, but the 2 projects that are coastal related that I submitted for that are the Pier 44 development project, which is the Situate Harbor Advisory Committee. That's kind of their charge. They are looking to redevelop that parcel as well, to either demolish the existing building and turn it into park space, open space, add a pier, or keep or renovate a portion of that space of that existing building. But it's also in the conceptual design phase, so there's going to be extensive public participation in that process as well, to see if we can come up with alternative designs and narrow those designs down to a preferred alternative, and what those anticipated costs would be and how feasible it is to do those things. So that's another major project that if we get funding for it, we should be able to put out an RFP for that as well. And the other project that I applied for, it's not as exciting, but it's to do some flood proofing to the pump station, I think in is it Sand Hills Pump Station, Kyle? I think it's a.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, not as exciting, but flood proofing and some redevelopment of the pump station in Sand Hills. So that will be a very important project as well if we get funding for that. Then, any questions on those projects?
Lori, can I add 2 things?
Sure.
One of the other things that we have is we did go out to bid. We had one of the culverts that were damaged off Oceanside Drive back a couple of years ago. The end of the culvert, the precast actually rotated out and broke away from the pipe. So we have a contractor that's going to be going out there and replacing that. That's 75% reimbursable by FEMA. So you might be seeing some activity as the weather gets going in that area. And we're looking at a couple sets of stairs to try to come up with some ideas for off Glades Road. We always have some issues. The stairs are in very bad shape. And what we wind up doing is closing them. People take the chains down as soon as we put the chains up and continue to use them. But because of the massive amounts of sand that we've lost in there over the years, rocks basically now are holding up the staircases. So we can't really remove the rocks, and then people have to crawl over the rocks to get out there. We're afraid if we do remove the rocks, the stairs could come down. So we're looking at a couple different options on that and trying to make something happen for this year. But it all depends on what we have for money in our funds and what we can and can't do. So we're also renewing a lot of permits. The sand permit that we have for that beach, we are renewing it, or we're in the process of renewing it. And then just continually applying for grants for replacement along Oceanside Drive and Turner for continually doing that wall. So that's what my guys have been working on.
Are you referring to the North Situate Beach?
Yes.
Okay. And are you in the process or of rebuilding part of the seawall on Oceanside? You know what I'm talking about, Kevin?
I only heard part of that. I heard something about rebuilding, and then that was it.
Oh, okay. Part of the seawall. Let's see, in the excuse me for not being familiar with all the road names yet.
We'll give you time.
Surfside.
Surfside. No, it's not Surfside that we're working on. It's more, we're looking at Oceanside and Turner areas, which are up in the Sand Hills area.
Okay,
And one of the things that we will need if we do get those grants already work in that area, what we've done is, or what we're in the process of doing now is, we're hoping there's a lot of available money for the Build Back Better project. So we submitted 3 large grants for a seawall replacement off Oceanside Drive. I think they're going in a week or 2. And our hope is that they're going to be looking for shovel-ready projects that they could spend the money on. So we have them permitted, and we're trying to make those available as soon as possible. And we're just applying for whatever we can get. And we're doing that with a lot of our other stuff, sidewalks and anything else, but we're doing that for those sections of seawall. So with our fingers crossed that money will become available for it. Surfside Road, we've had a lot of issues on Surfside Road because, you know, we have both. Surfside Road could use work, but Oceanside and Turner in that area seems to be in worse shape, and that's where we've had our failures. So that's the areas that we've been focusing on. We will need help at some point, and we'll be looking at this committee and Corey and Kyle for help getting easements with people. And that's one of the things that we can do, is have a meeting and maybe invite the residents, if we do get a particular project, and try to bring them on board, because they do have to give a 3-part easement up. Excuse me. They have to give up an easement for where the wall is going to sit. They have to give an easement up to the town that we can go in there and maintain it or replace it or do whatever we have to do at any time if there's damage to it. And then there's also a public use easement, because if public dollars are going to be spent on it, the beach is typically left open so that the public can use the beach also. And that's always, you know, hard for people to understand and accept. But, you know, it takes a lot of work, but we've done it in the past. And I think with this committee's help, that could be something that'll work out in the future also.
Hey, Kevin, is there, so I mean, the bigger the bucket of shovel-ready projects, once that money starts getting released, the better. Is there anything coastal that you guys don't already have sort of in hand that should be sort of made as ready as possible?
So I think we're trying to submit for $10 to $12 million worth. The typical grants at max are $3 million. So we were hoping that we would get one of them. And the thought process is, if all of a sudden they have to spend a lot of money in a hurry, they could put it our way by having 2 additional shovel-ready projects. In, you know, those were past prices. We don't know what's going to happen with COVID, because the cost of metal has gone up, the cost of concrete has gone up, the cost of rock has gone up due to shipping. So in the past, in that area, we're paying about $8,000 a foot. And I have no idea what it'll be this time around.
did you just say $8,000 a foot?
I think we were around there, yeah.
It's not going to be lower than that.
Thank you, Kevin. So as part of my own orientation to the town and the coastal structures, I put together an inventory of things. I'm happy to share that with the commission members if desired, but it's basically, I found some different data layers through MassGIS and through our own files, and was able to put together sort of an inventory of all the structures that are publicly owned in the town. And basically the ocean facing shoreline, what I found is ocean facing shoreline is approximately 12 miles. And more than 3/4 of that shoreline is armored by town or state-owned structures. Bulkheads and seawall comprise about 55% of that.
Corey, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Yeah.
and bug you about that. If you went by Mass GIS, did you meet up with Sean at all, Sean McCarthy, about that?
No,
Because, and this is one of the things I'll explain to the group, because we do have some new members. Mass GIS might show it as a public structure, and a seawall might have been built during, the WPA period in the Depression, and then added on to as it goes. The biggest thing that we need in a lot of these is easements, because we have to go to each individual property and pull the deeds, then take the deeds and see where the land limit is. So a lot of times they go down to mean low sea level. If they go down to mean low sea level, technically we don't have any right to go on that land to replace a seawall. And that's why we have to get the easements. Mass GIS just shows it as a block document and it doesn't cover that. So that's one of the issues that we have. And we've done a lot of that research already, that we've pulled all the individual deeds down the coast and know which ones we have easements for and which ones we don't. So that's something that, we can get your feet wet and help you out with that. So it's tricky. It's not that clear. And then when you go back to the state, they lost their records years ago in a flood. You can't make it up. So there are no records or no direct records of ownership all the time. We've had some of the same issues because, in Humrock, we were looking at, what we could do about possibly building a berm down in the Central Ave area to protect the road and raising the road. But we were going to need easements to do that work. And the residents were not in favor of giving the easement, so the project was put on hold. So, and that's something this committee worked long and hard with, like, say 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So it's interesting, but anything you need, we can bring you up to speed on, especially as far as the deeds go and how that's interpreted.
that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and Corey, whenever you end up getting some sort of a, your own database of what's out there, if you don't mind sharing it, that'd be great.
yes, I can do that. Well, do we have any other items that we want to put forth for discussion at the moment?
Have we decided on a date for our next meeting?
Nope.
How frequently does this group need to meet?
Once a month, and it's typically Tuesday, and we try to do it the Tuesday that alternates with the selectmen agenda, if possible.
So that would be March 8th.
That works for me,
Sure.
Yeah, I can do that.
and that'll be at the library.
And I know it feels like we're not getting a whole lot done, but just getting the ball rolling again is a big start.
Yeah, it feels that way.
And does someone have to reserve the room at the library?
I'll take care of that. I'm gonna show Corey how we set that up.
Okay, great.
And Stephen, I'll make sure I get the email out to you. Are there any items that we should add to the next agenda?
It's the organization, so that you can vote for a chair, which I think you already have. Anything else anybody has particular on, just updates of projects? And hopefully we get some results of some grants and we can have some great news.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle, would this be a group we could bring up to date on where we are with hazard mitigation? I mean, I'm sure Kevin knows where we are, but everybody else might not know how far along we are.
Yeah. So we have had several meetings. We've actually just had our last committee meeting, and we're gonna be taking all that data and there's a comprehensive matrix that's going to be produced to kind of like ranks all our needs, and there'll be a complete assessment. But I think what we could do is we could provide the commission with a draft at our next meeting, if that makes sense to everybody. I think that'd be good for everybody to see it.
Yeah, we know what the 42 action, we eliminated a couple though, I think. Is it down to 40, Kyle?
Yeah,
40 action steps, and each action step has subgroups, and we evaluated each one on 2 different criteria. So we were we were at it for a long time. But,
yeah, that was a fun process.
yeah, but the consultant is putting it all together. So I think it'd be edifying for this group to see where we are. And by
Yeah,
next
we'll have
month,
something, that's a great agenda item for the next meeting.
yeah. Just in, in the interest of transparency and keeping people informed. Some of Kevin's items are on that. Some of the things that Corey mentioned are there, but there's 36 other things that it's pretty ambitious, but it's a 5-year plan. So, in 5 years, there'll be another 5-year plan. So we'll see what we can do. So.
Yeah, and I'd say the majority of the actions actually fall under kind of the coastal group.
Yeah.
Especially a lot of the public education and outreach types of activities. And I think that's something that, Kevin, if you need help reaching out and just providing general information to, as you go through your seawall projects.
Oh, yeah, we'll bug you like crazy. Just ask Kyle. We get right on his case. We don't hold back. Because we're also doing a lot of projects and a million other things, and staff consists of 3 people. So it is light. What I'll ask is, how did everybody make out in this past storm? Did anybody see anything that they liked? The past flooding storm, the big storm we had with the blizzard. Did they see things they liked, that they disliked, things that concerned people they haven't seen recently? Or we had that, we made up sandbags, and God, we had every news channel in the world out there. That was insane.
Actually,
lots of suggestions. We're open to it.
no, but no pandering here, Kevin. I thought the town did a great job. It was a sloppy mess, and good kudos to you guys for getting it all done the way you did. And you're still out there doing sidewalks and stuff. I mean, it's impressive. Good for you.
Well, thank you. I was lucky. I went home and went to sleep, and my guys, some of them worked 42 hours straight. At least I get some sleep, and but they did a great job. The guys, they work really hard at it, and they enjoy what they do. It shows. So thank you.
Yeah, I thought it's been a good winter as far as how Situate's handled itself. So it's been great.
Well, we've been getting killed with freeze ups at night. We've been going out just about every other night. In this past ice storm, I mean, we used up so much salt, it was ridiculous just trying to maintain the roads because it kept blowing over. It was a miserable storm, which you could tell by your driveways, how horrible they were. So.
Yeah, my driveway's almost melted. I'm letting Mother Nature take care of it.
You know what? We're trying to say that to the schools. It'll be melted in a week. Don't worry about it. Police and fire too. Don't worry about it. You'll be okay. You'll be able to get there. But,
yeah. We'll be complaining about the heat before you know it.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I would second what Jim said. I mean, I don't have a lot to compare it to, but I felt like it was pretty immediate. Like they were, the plows were out before I feel like the first bit of snow hit. And anyway, I was very appreciative. And then I'll also say too, I had a huge oak tree fall down after the storm. It was like late October. The one I'm talking about? I think it was a bomb cyclone. And,
yeah.
it was a town tree that was like right on my property. It fell. And you guys came right out and got it. And and there was a massive stump left behind and just came and took care of it. And so I was really impressed. I thought I'd be looking at that stump till spring at least, just because it was so big and you had so much other stuff going on. And
Where
guys
are
took
you,
care of
Matt?
it. 1 Washington Lane, Beaver Dam and Washington Lane here.
Okay, okay. Just trying to figure out which one it was, because there was some crazy trees that came down in that big storm.
All on my street, there were even bigger ones. And the one that fell in my yard was not a small one by any stretch. So
Yeah.
You guys had,
Yeah,
I
we
knew
got
you guys
really-
had your hands.
We got really lucky. We put out a call for help to other DPWs. We had crews down from Danvers that really helped out. It was, great to get the support, but it really, really helped out. They sent a crew down for 3 days just doing tree work, full crew, full equipment, chipper, everything. So really worked out well.
Well, kudos to you. Hats off to you. Those were, both those were really big storms and felt like you did a great job.
Well, we hope we don't see another one like it again anytime in the near future. So, Corey, I'm sorry, I took your thunder away. Anything else you had that was exciting? It's all exciting.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when I got here, I didn't even have like an ice scraper in my car because I've been in Virginia for like 10 years. And then one morning it came out and I was like, oh my God, I forgot it gets icy here. And I had to like sit in my car with the defroster on for like 10 minutes, just like pushing out windshield washer fluid. But I've learned my lesson. I went and bought shovels, ice melt, and scrapers. But all right, I guess we're gonna adjourn for tonight.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Uh,
Bye.
All right, everybody stay well.
Yeah, thank you, Corey.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Corey. Welcome.